there's a lot of sacrifices when you run for office. The salaries are not that good, obviously, because the political positions are not made by to be occupied by people of color.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from URBANDER, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Welcome, everyone. I know that I made a light introduction of our new team member here at URBANDER earlier this week, but I figured it'd be a good time to have a conversation with Johanna López, Orange County Public School Board member for District 2 here in Florida, and also our Human Impact Strategist for URBANDER. Hola, Johanna, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, I'm so excited that you joined our team, and I know it was like unexpected and it was all of a sudden, but now after 3 months, my first question to you is, are you hanging in there? I know you are, but how's it going?
No, I love it. I really enjoy to be surrounded by empowered women like you and the rest of the team in Urbander. Sometimes in the nonprofit sector, you feel that there is certain conflict of interest. For example, I was running for state rep, and I was doing civic engagement. So it's kind of questionable. So it's better to be in the private sector, do what we have to do in a very transparent way, and we can be loud and nobody have to say anything. We can be very bold and outspoken, and fight in a very I think in the right fields, with the right people.
Right. And so I know that you've been in public service for 20 years as a teacher, right? And then ran for school board and won by a landslide, becoming the first Afro Latina and Latina to be on the Orange County School Board the last 4 years in its 150-year-old history. I mean, these are like pretty humongous accomplishments from a person that is not originally from the U.S. mainland, and that you came from Puerto Rico so many moons ago, and really put in the work to become a leader in your own right here in our region. And so, what has that transition felt like, right? Or what are the big differences between and you're still in public service, right? Because you're still on the Orange County Public School Board, and you're running for state legislature here in Florida for District 43. So your career, will continue from a public service standpoint. But what are the main differences that you find between public service and working in the private sector and in business and in entrepreneurship?
Well, I it's very similar to a certain extent. I just say that there's a lot of sacrifices when you run for office. The salaries are not that good, obviously, because the political positions are not made by to be occupied by people of color, with people that don't have uh, for example, in my case, when I think about being an elected official, I cannot live with the salary of a school board. I'm a single mom. I have my daughter. I have my bills, my car, my house, whatever. So I expected to have a good life. To have the life that we deserve after we study and work so hard. So when I run for office, from teacher to school board, I lost almost $20,000 a year.
Wow.
So I have to look to see, okay, what can I do? So at the beginning, I think in the nonprofit, because my experience is mainly in the nonprofit side as a volunteer, I never charge for anything. I have a lot of ideas. I gave my ideas from the heart because I believe in my community. I want my community to become better. But I at that moment when I was struggling, I lived for almost 1 year and a half from my savings.
Right.
And I was struggling. So I think I see a lot of people getting paid from being a consultant, and I'm just giving my consultation for free. And why I have to give my consultation for free for organizations that have a lot of income? I think that it was very disrespectful. I did not know, but nobody say why. Why you don't become a consultant? Like everybody else. We can have white consultants, a black consultant, a Chinese consultant. Why you cannot pay a Puerto Rican consultant? So
Right.
I think that I started in the nonprofit because it was based on my expertise for more than 15 years, mobilizing people. I can mobilize my community in so many topics, in so many fields, even though they're not part of that field. And it's because they feel related to me. My story is their story. So when I start working as a school board and then become part of another organization as an executive director, it was a lot. It was a lot. So I decided, and because of the type of work that we did as an organization, civic engagement, for example, we have to register to vote, and I was trying to run for from Florida State House. So I decided to talk to you to then transfer to the profit side, because when I was trying to be a consultant in the nonprofit side, I developed a small structure of a profit, but it was to have every paper in order. It's not because I want a website, work in publicity or anything like that. It's just to do the right thing, paperwork,
And
paper.
yes, and have like a legitimate
Exactly.
foundation, right? To be able to do consulting if those opportunities came up.
Exactly. So when I spoke to you, I say, can I transfer to the profit side? Because at that moment, you as an expert, you can tell me, what, and you're honest. So I said, this girl, she's honest. She's gonna tell me whatever in my face. So let me talk to her. And I think that the first voice of hope to be respected as a businesswoman, it was your voice, and that's why
Ah.
so much. Not only because even though you're a businesswoman, you always think about your community and you try to help your community as well to become better. So, and sometimes, when we have people in the profit side just thinking about making money and not giving back to the community, it's kind of okay. That doesn't work like that. But, I respect everybody. Everybody can be different. But in your case, coming from you make me feel more comfortable. So I said, well, if Sammy says that, I go for it. So
Yeah.
that's why I started in the business side. What I like of the business side and having a lot of conversation with different organizations, very important organizations like Comcast, Universal Studios, very big corporations, and when we started and small business owners. We always enter into the same conversation: equity, inclusion, diversity. It's something that matters to become better, to become stronger, and how to help the community directly or indirectly. But I
Mhm.
think that I feel very comfortable. I think that maybe I did not use the word business, but after speaking about so many terms and terminology and visions in different uh, fields and different perspectives in different
Mhm.
business life, I think that I feel very comfortable. I think that I never had the opportunity to try. And I think that if you take the risk, you can be very successful. But we have to take the risk and think we have to sacrifice sometimes so many things, even economically.
Yeah.
to become more successful, to help other people and become better.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, so it's so funny because we're learning from each other, right? So now that we've been working so closely for the last 3 months, I didn't know, that to run for public office, you kind of have to have like a side thing. So I learned that from you, right? And in the sense where, wow, I didn't realize. So then it makes sense why it's so hard and challenging, and why you kind of double, you ask yourself twice or three times or four times, should I really run, because this is going to affect me, right, economically,
Exactly.
in the sense where you need to complement, and with another income. And so it's no surprise
And,
that a lot of people that are business owners, right, are run for office. Like, I had no idea. No wonder there are a lot of people in the Senate and in the House, House of Representative, and across the country, also at the state level, that are doing well. I mean, they don't look like us, right? Yet, most of them, right? But it's because they run their own businesses and they're affluent, right? They can put their name into the game, right, and into uh, running for public office because they have the means. They're afforded that luxury of running for public office because they
yes,
have the financial wherewithal, right,
yes.
to do so.
Yeah, and that is the reason why you don't see a lot of single women.
Mm.
Because being a single woman, you have everything is on you. You don't have a partner that can help you. You're not the wife of the lawyer or of the business owner. So it becomes more difficult even to grow as well in the business field, because now you have to be very careful after you become an elected official, in understand and understand and know how to work in the business side without a conflict of interest.
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want anybody that are, I want single moms, or single women or single men to think that this is a good idea. I'm not discouraging anybody, because after you run a good campaign, you can also have another type of business. You can be a political consultant as well, because based on my experience, after I have the experience with my students of running my campaign in 2018, I did not have um uh, let me rephrase this. I did not look as a traditional politician. So,
Right.
the picture with the family, the dad, the mom, the dogs, the very stable, any problem, very, no. And well speak, the person who speak very, very well, native language, English, native language. So in my case, with a lot of accent, um, I took advantage of that because I think my accent is an asset. That's another story. We can speak about that too. But also, my daughter, for example, it's a lot of challenges, because now your family needs attention as well. So you cannot run and stop being a mom. You have to continue being a mom. You have to do your things. I was a teacher at that moment. So it was different hat at the same time. My campaign was running by students. The majority did not vote at that moment. So that's another thing, that it wasn't traditional. So traditional. So the most of them are undocumented or resident. They don't speak English at all. So they have to read from the flyers. We did not have any type of experience in websites, in flyers. So I think that the job of my students, do the research, be determined and persevere and help me, the meetings after the debates, and after knocking on doors, and sharing the experiences, not being afraid of speak up, not being afraid of who you are, how you look. I have LGBTQ students. I have a trans student that, I remember Nati. She even have speech problems. So she couldn't knock on doors by herself, but she said, "But I go with you." So just
Mhm.
having Natty to my side, like, and she came from Maria from Puerto Rico, I know, and knowing her story, she wasn't here living with her parents. So the canvassing helped her to become a leader, to feel more comfortable, more empowered. So there's so many things that help us to grow. Now in this position, I have the majority of the students in my kitchen committee. Now the majority of them know more English. The majority of them graduated for the university. Almost 100% of them working in political campaigns. So I think that we developed a business side without knowing that we were working in the profit side at the end.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think that we have to take advantage of every experience to analyze ourselves and try to see our talents and believe in ourselves, take the risk and try. This
Yeah.
is try and error, no? Just in case it doesn't
Yes,
work.
totally. But I gotta tell you, you're a natural. So when we spoke, when you called me 3 months ago, and you say, "Hey, I'm thinking that once I go to Tallahassee and I'm at the state, at the state legislature, and it's gonna be difficult to be, in the nonprofit sector and here locally because I'm gonna be away for 3 months out of the year. Do you think that someone in the private sector might be interested, in hiring me, to be able to work with them, even remotely?" And I was just, my jaw dropped. I could not believe you then that you called me also for advice. I was like, is this happening? Someone pinched me that Johanna López wants to transition into the private sector, and she's asking me. What a great. I said, hell yes, please, 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 come work with us, come work with me. And I got to tell you, everything that you just described has been just such an easy transfer of skills into the business. I've seen you. I've seen it comes naturally to you, and I knew it from the moment we had that conversation. I said, "Oh my God, I just hit the jackpot." I felt like I won the freaking lottery, because you knock on doors, you're not shy, you're bold, you're like wicked smart. Oh my God, so freaking intelligent and strategic, because politics, right? Politics and strategy, and it has to do with also customizing, right, and making sure that you're very targeted with your audiences. I mean, you're like perfect,
Yes.
perfect, perfect for business, and it's already shown. It's
But
shown results, right? Yeah.
having you, because remember, we met in the nonprofit side, in the
Yeah.
community. So no, I think that your personality, our conversations, sometimes, and let me tell you, most of the time we need people to talk, a friend that we can talk and feel that to validate our feelings, to our concerns, to having that productive conversation. And a friend is not a person that agree with you in 100% or whatever you're saying. Is that
Hmm.
person who make questions? Is the devil's advocate. Most of the time. So that person make you think, and this is our relationship. And I highly appreciate that. I think it was a blessing because it's relaxed. You know, we have fun because definitely we have fun doing this because I think that you know is when you don't have to study in a certain field because sometimes the experience take you to that field. And sometimes when you compare, and that is something that I also learned in my campaign. I had a lot of students that did not have any type of experience in the political side, but just by looking at their personalities you can say, okay, you can be part of the volunteer department, you can be in communication. I said, so we can analyze personalities to see where they fit, instead of criticizing or and see the weaknesses, why we don't focus on the strength. And then we can work in those weaknesses indirectly so we can become better. And I remember with the students after the debates, I made a lot of mistakes I when I was speaking in English. So they say, okay, Lopez, you don't say like this, you say like that. But they wait until the other day when we have the meeting. They didn't say anything the day of the debate. They just, a lot of applause, a lot of pictures. But the next day, we were very honest to each other. And I highly appreciate that because that's the way I grew up. And I still need to grow, obviously, and I'm still learning. But if I did not take the risk, I did not win the elections. And
Yeah.
I think that people respect you by the fact that you, even when you have certain barriers, you still trying to run the extra mile to become better and to help your community. So people respect that. I never have any type of public bullying, but of course, in the social media, whatever, they can do it. But every every negative criticism, because we have positive criticism and negative criticism. So in the negative side, make me stronger. I don't take anything personal. Say, yeah, it's true. I'm working on
Mhm.
it. So I
Yeah.
always, so, and that's another way of, if you take things personal or every comment personal in business and in politics, in both,
Yes.
you're not gonna grow because
Yeah.
find those words, even if the person doesn't like you, there's a purpose. And
Exactly.
you have to
Exactly. And so
acknowledge that. Yes.
yes, exactly. And can I tell you something? So again, I know you pre private sector involvement and and post, right? So in the last 3 months, and I gotta tell you that you've always been outspoken. You've always been very, bold or vocal, in your advocacy. You've been fearless. Like I've always said, that's one of the biggest things that I admire about you, right? But I feel like in this transition, I've seen you like really own, right? That freedom of now standing your ground and understanding your worth, right? And so I just want to say that I'm proud of you, right? For stepping into that space and saying, "Espérate. Wait a second, right? Wait, I didn't realize that, all of this knowledge that I have, right? And that I've like, acquired throughout the years has value in the even in the corporate world, right? In the private and in the business sector. And so I want you to continue to, you know, work in that space and grow in that space, because again, I think you're a natural in business, and yeah, you're just badass. What can I tell you?
Ah, because of you. Because of your mentorship program.
My what?
Your mentorship program. I don't
My
know if I can
mentorship
words.
program. My mentorship program. Okay, so Johanna calls my mentorship program these last 3 months the mentor bitch program. But it's not a mentor bitch program. It's just that we need to be honest. And then sometimes when we show up and call a spade and say, no, no, wait a second, and establish healthy engagement, right? And business boundaries, right? With people that either try to lowball us and try to pay less for something that's or trying to get freebies when wait a second, you pay other communities or other consultants, right, for this same work, and now you don't want to pay me. And so then, so yeah, all of a sudden that you're being bitchy or you're being intransigente or obnoxious or whatever you want to call it, right? And it's not that. It's just that I've learned in the last 4 years in business that there's worth and value in the work that we do, and that we're constant learners too, right? And so then I'm constantly learning to improve what I'm able to offer, and I try to surround myself that with people also and collaborate. Like we collaborate with so many awesome people, right, Johanna? Other business owners too, right? That I'm not going to shortchange my peers, and so if I call Dwayne, or I call even Chris, or I call Shalonda or Servola, right? Or any of our peers to say, hey, we got a new project to work on. I'm not going to shortchange them,
Yes.
so then I need to stand up. And so anyway, I hope
Yes, 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 yes.
I listen, you fell right into that mentor bitch program. Don't even pretend like
You know, it's because based on the experience that I have, if we have, we have maybe a debate or maybe we have a panel. And this is something that made me think long time ago when I was starting running for school board. I remember that men can be very outspoken and bold. Nobody say anything. But at the time the woman tried to be very bold, outspoken, oh, she's an angry lady. Or if you are very shy, I know she's shy, she's not bold, she's no, she cannot be
she's
a
insecure. She's insecure.
yeah, exactly. Yes. So, but if the men do the same behavior, it's like, no, he's very nice. He's very, yeah. But if I do it, I'm insecure. But if he's doing it, he's talking like that. So I see different um, uh, criticism and stereotypes in women and men when we're trying to communicate certain message or communicate in controversial topics, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Controversial topics like reproductive women rights.
Right.
For
Yep.
example, I know for sure that a man is not gonna feel as passionate as I feel.
Right.
Um, as a mother, I think that we have to fight for our reproductive rights every day. Here we cannot lose that opportunity and that's that respect. And so it's for different spaces we're not allowed to behave a certain way because we are a woman. So I was speaking to this male. He for me he's misogynic, but he was telling me about
Mm.
how the woman lose value in the market and not the men. And can you please explain? Are you please, because I don't get it. I think that we both, women and men, everybody in the world, LGBTQ, we have the same value. We have to respect ourselves, and we have this. We should have the same opportunities, the same opportunity to have the same salaries, for example. The same opportunity to be respected, to have rights and defend ourselves. And even in law, we don't have the same. The same opportunities. It's very discriminatory in
Mhm.
business, in law, in the law system. So this is, and I think this is a great podcast, to be developed in the future, to see how come we have to run the extra mile when we are doing a great job. And I have a conversation with an organization. I said, you know what, I'm tired of running the extra mile to get what I deserve. I just have to run my mile as everybody else. Why I have to run the extra mile to get there? It's
Right.
like, while I see other people just run the 100 class.
Skipping. No, the other people skipping in the park.
Yes, yes, because it's the daughter of or known whoever. So
Right.
and I think that that's the conversation that needs to happen, and we have to talk to our daughters. We have to talk to our community, to our husbands. For those who has husbands. So and we have to be more fair in
Hmm.
the business side.
Yeah.
I not even in the business side we don't see that respect for the woman. Imagine.
Hmm.
So if
Yeah.
you are a woman, being a woman of color, and then you keep adding things, being single, then adding the accent, then keep adding. So you keep adding more inequities and more challenges and more barriers.
Yes, totally. So there's a lot going on. We have business to attend to, right? Because we're gonna go to a presentation later. Where it's a lot. So before we wrap up, I know that you still have a few months as Orange County Public School Board member. You've done, I can't, that's a whole other show, right? In terms of everything that that you've already, helped accomplish as part of that elite group of, people that are overseeing, right? The safe environments and a quality education for our kids here in the county. Before you go though to Tallahassee to represent us at the state level, what do you want to accomplish or contribute, and so that way you can seal, right, your legacy as an Orange County Public School Board member?
I would love to see more engagement of my community in the school board meetings. I think that that's the key of having more equity in our school system. I think that we have to be more outspoken, but we have to educate our community so they can become more outspoken. We already have a translator in every school board meeting, just in case we have parents that want to speak in Spanish. So we immediately have somebody who can translate for him or for her, for any family members or student. I think that that's one of my dreams, to see more participation of my communities that speak Spanish. That there is not, it's not wrong to speak your native language. We are working in improving in the English language, but if they feel more comfortable and they feel more that they will be more assertive, they can feel free to speak Spanish and have that translation. I think that we achieve a lot, and now we have a superintendent that speaks Spanish. Now my chief of high school is also Puerto Rican. I also have a lot of area superintendents that are Latinos. Never happened before. So we have a lot of positions of power in Orange County Public Schools. That is the fourth largest in the state and the ninth largest in the nation. And I see a lot of diversity and I love to be part of Orange County Public School because I saw a lot of diversity. Our current superintendent, and the one that is leaving, she's African American, and we also have a lot of great African American leaders in our district. Our chief of staff, one of our area superintendent as well. So we see our communities of color growing, representing the percentage of our district, because we are 43 Latino, but we are 25 African American. If you add that, we should see that diversity in the district. So, and also obviously, we also have our community, our white Anglo leaders that we also have, and they're amazingly great. So we have, you see the diversity, you see the collage of different ethnicities working together for student success, and I love that. If you tell me, if you ask me what I want to see, I want to see more parental engagement from our Hispanic community, and also still, see that the diversity, over and over, that we can represent that percentages in the staff, and not only in the students, so the
Yeah.
students be related to those leaders, to those principals, to those teachers, counselors. So I think that's one of so many things, because also mental health, I think that mental health is something that we have to be very focused. After the pandemic is a challenge. The emotional stage of every person needs to be valued and
Yeah.
taken care of. It's not only students, it's also staff. So every single staff in Orange County Public School will be taking training to identify any type of symptom of any type of mental challenge, or anything of, any type of problems that they, because sometimes can be misinterpreted by the
Yeah.
fact of saying, that person is not behaving. Maybe not. That person maybe have another problem that needs to
Hmm.
be, addressed by a professional instead of suspended, because you don't know what is really happening. So now
Yeah.
every staff, understanding different symptoms, they can be more fair when they follow up with different behaviors in the school system. We don't want students being suspended. We don't want to increase the pipeline from school to prison. We want our students to be successful and to feel comfortable and welcome in our school system.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and I know that you've been a champion for that from day one, and that it takes time, right? For these, but to have them come to fruition, de verdad, bravo, Johanna. And now, what are your plans and your vision? And the areas that you're going to advocate on and focus on at the state level, because we have a hot mess over here in Florida, Mama.
Yes,
Mama.
it's true.
Ana.
You know, first of all, when everybody look at my face, they say, "Okay, she's gonna advocate for education." Everybody say that because that's my field during the last 20 something years. Obviously, I'm gonna fight for better salaries for our teachers and our classified employees. I think that we need more non-discretional allocations in our counties in the state, so we can make that happen. Because most of the time everybody complain against the school board, but we have limited allocations. We have to be careful on the on raising salaries for teachers and classified employees. So that's one of the things that I'm looking for. And also obviously the business side, I think that we have a lot of challenges with our small business owners. And per conversations, is the same challenge over and over. How hard is to our business owners to grow and to grow and to have more initiatives and programs to make them stronger. And also affordable housing is a mess in Florida. I think that we need affordable housing for our workers families. Our workers families is having a lot of challenges to buy a home, even if we have two, the mom and the dad, or the two moms, or the partners, and having jobs. It's ridiculous. The prices is just unacceptable because it's not aligned with the cost of living. So you
Mm-hmm.
have a really bad salary with a very high home cost. So it's something that we have to do something. We have to still working on it. I think that the state is not working as good as they could do with the Sadowski funds. They're not doing their jobs right. So I think that that's something that we need to advocate and create different ways of support our working families with affordable housing. And also our senior, and our senior here in Florida, if they come from New York or Chicago, they lose the majority of their benefits. We don't have enough benefits for our senior citizens. It's very sad that in the state of the retirement, we don't have enough initiative for our seniors. So we have to work more in the Medicaid. We have to work more in helping those seniors that are staying with their families to have more. They don't have. They can also have no more than 4 hours a day of care in the home. So imagine our Hispanic families that loves to stay with the moms and with the suegras.
Mm-hmm.
They, the mother-in-laws, they cannot afford sometimes to stay with the grandma because they have to work in order
Mm-hmm.
to pay the high rents or high mortgages, and they ended going to places that are not good enough. And the rest of the story. I think that we have to work very, very hard for our senior citizens in the state of Florida. And we have to work on social justice. When I speak about social justice, it's about our LGBTQ community. They're being bullying, legally bullying in the state of Florida. And also our women rights with the reproductive system. We have to be able to talk about abortions. The women have the right to decide on their bodies We are not, we cannot judge them or criminalize our women by creating laws against this type of practices. Abortion is like a health service. It's another way to just make a decision on your body, but do it in a legal way with with medical attention, in a safe way. Because if we do not allow that, abortion is going to continue. We cannot criminalize that. So that's what our state is doing it at this moment, try to criminalize that type of decision. And it's very sad. They have to be focused on something else, and try to support our women, and support, and have to support our women, and support our LGBTQ community. So social justice is very important. Our immigrants as well. The state of Florida, the governor is not permitting our young immigrants, our minors immigrants, to get into Florida to reunite with their families. In the state of Florida, he did not allow that to happen. So that is very sad, because it's not costing anything to the state. It's with private buses, with other grants. So why we cannot allow children to reunite with their parents or their aunts or their family members? So there's a lot of things to do, but this is my main
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
information, just go johannalopez.com. That's the website.
The plug, yes.
So I have a website, I have all the platforms. So if you're interested in know more about my campaign and know more about me, so just go there,
Yeah.
vojohannalopez.com.
And then last but certainly not least, what is your vision in the here with Urbander, and working together and in this space in business? What's your vision? I haven't asked you that. Well, we've been so busy just on the mentor bitch and all of that, that it's been, yeah.
So, like I told you, the empowerment, because maybe sometimes you don't see it, but when you, as a CEO, create an environment of increasing the leadership of your own employees, you never think about Urbander. You think about make people successful through Urbander. Instead, the traditional CEO, you make my company successful. You see it in another way. So you're a visionary. And what I see through Brander is just growing, not only in personal, but also in different type of business, diversifying the services through Urbander, because we have a lot of people in Urbander that have different expertises, and we can work together to make it bigger. And while we're working with Urbander, we are growing also individually, and Urbander is growing as well with us. I think that is because of your vision and your mission, um, to advance humanity, make
Yeah.
business, advance humanity. So
Yeah.
saying it, you're doing it. And that's what make you unique and transparent. So if people don't like to be transparent, so it's a big problem, because in this world, I think that the people, the community, and I see it by my experience, when they see you the way you are, they can see your transparency, you can have more trust, and people can be more easily mobilized to work together and improve together.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just all of us, right? All of us, that are part of the team. I feel that that's just how we are, just direct and open and loving, and sometimes grumpy, if we're exhausted, but it's okay. And so I'm just so happy, Johanna, that to be working with you so closely and so intimately, right? And to getting to know our families also too, because that's the thing, it just extends itself right into other areas too, because that's just how we roll. And I just can't wait. I feel like it's just, we can just topple any barrier, overcome any challenge that comes our way, And I want to thank you. Thank you for trusting that this was gonna work. and, and
Thank you.
I'm just so excited. And nada, I'm gonna see you what in another hour and a half. I'm gonna be
Thank
seeing you in
you.
2 hours. In 2 hours. And so anyway, I can't wait to see you, hug you, and maybe we can, grab lunch or something, afterwards, okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I love you, mama.
Bye bye. I love you too. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify and iTunes as well. There's more to come next week. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to speak up.